Alita Battle Angel was a movie I was really looking forward to this year. It was on my anticipated movies list for 2019. In that video, I said that I had no background on the anime and manga, but that I planned to do my homework before seeing this movie, and I did. I watched both the 2-episode anime OVA and 4 out of the 9 volumes of the original manga. Now, just to clarify, I did not do this because I'm one of these kind of people who judge movies based on how accurate they are to the source material. I think that's a very bad way of judging movies, and that's not what I intended to do. I did my homework for this movie because for every other anime adaptation that I've seen, I'm at least somewhat familiar with the source material, and I could tell that no one involved in the production gave a shit about the anime or manga they were adapting. And so I wanted to be familiar with the source material for Alita Battle Angel to be able to tell, if the people making this movie actually had a unique creative vision and wanted to make, an actual good movie instead of the fucking garbage we've been getting. I felt like knowing the source material would help inform me as to what they were trying to go for with their creative vision, if they actually had one. Last night I saw it and I actually really liked it. It's not perfect, but it is definitely, by far, the best live-action anime or manga adaptation that we have ever gotten. Of course, what everyone's saying about the visuals is true. It looks fantastic, and the action scenes are great, which is what I was really looking forward to because the manga is very action-heavy, and with a comic book like a manga, it's very hard to tell what's actually going on in the panels, and it's just, the action scenes aren't really as fun to look at on a still image than they are to actually see in motion. And so it being a movie really benefited from that. And so the action is a lot of fun. However, this movie, before the action really kicks in, this movie is really bad. The first 15 minutes actually are kind of terrible. It's such a mixed bag because sometimes the dialogue would be so terrible, then it would actually be pretty good, then it would go back to being really terrible. The beginning of the movie felt really disjointed and they had to do a whole lot of really quick, snappy exposition. But in the first 15 minutes, there were so many bad moments, and I was kind of worried that I wouldn't like the movie. But after the first 15 minutes, the movie really kicks into high gear, and it's just action scene after action scene, and that's really the focus of this movie, and it's a lot of fun. I'm really happy with the final product of this movie because going into this movie, having read the manga, I was actually hoping that they would change some things about the source material that I really did not like about the manga. And I know some people are gonna not like me saying that because there are some people out there that think the manga is a masterpiece. I'm about halfway through with the manga, and so far I completely disagree. I think it's like a 5 out of 10. So I was hoping that they would change some things about the manga to make it better, and they absolutely did. One of the problems that I have with the manga is a problem that a lot of anime and manga have, and that's that they don't know how to juggle multiple storylines or even transition in between them, and so as a result you just have these very separate story arcs that don't feel connected to each other at all. And this movie takes several of those story arcs from multiple volumes and ties them together quite nicely to create this very cohesive feeling story. It also improved several of the characters. In the manga, Alita's boyfriend, or love interest rather, is kind of an asshole and an unlikable character overall. I think they took the right steps in this movie to make the love interest more likable, and not just some asshole who tears people apart for parts. I even think they improved the character of Alita. In the manga, she's very machine-like. She doesn't really have a personality at all. She's honestly a very boring and one-note character. But in the movie, they give the character a lot of personality that isn't necessarily present in the manga, or at least doesn't necessarily show within the very still images of the manga. So overall, the character of Alita herself is more likable in this movie. The casting for this movie is great as well. Some of the images of characters from the manga look exactly like the actors who are portraying them on screen. Dr. Ito from the manga looks exactly like Christoph Waltz, and that is really just one example of the really great casting going on here. A lot of my concerns with the movie going in were just totally demolished. The marketing really set up this really garbage, terrible, Americanized story about this chosen one girl, breaking down the system. And that's not necessarily what the manga's tone is, and that's, they didn't actually end up doing that in the movie. It's very accurate to the source material. It's not this dumb Americanized young adult novel story where some Katniss Everdeen character is bringing down an evil empire. So I'm really happy that the trailers were just outright fucking lying, because if they really did go that route in the movie, I probably would have been upset. I was also concerned with the uncanny valley in this movie. A lot of people, myself included, when they saw that first trailer, which at this point has been a long time ago, but Alita didn't look too great, and nobody was really hot on the way she looked, and it made a lot of people feel uncomfortable, including myself. However, in the movie, I feel like for some reason she just looked better. I don't know if they improved the CGI or what, but she didn't really bother me that much, and it didn't really give me the same sort of unease that the first trailer did. One big flaw with this movie is something that I knew was probably going to happen considering how long this comic series is, but the movie just moves way too fast, and that's because it has to cover so much material. The movie covers about a third of the manga, and it moves really fast, so fast that when like these really big dramatic moments happen, it almost gives you no time to sort of breathe. It just jumps right into the next big thing. And so I think this movie could have benefited from a longer runtime, though I'm sure the filmmakers, had a hard time even making the 2 hours that they did. I'm sure the studio would not have let them make it any longer. I heard some people complaining that they thought the movie was predictable. However, I can't really speak much to that because, again, I did do my homework going into this movie. I was very familiar with the source material by the time I actually sat down and watched the movie, so I already knew everything that was going to happen basically in the movie. So other people saying it's predictable, I mean, I can kind of see that. When I was reading the manga, I thought the manga was pretty predictable in and of itself. So I suppose I can see where people are coming from there, even despite my foreknowledge of the source material being adapted. And I think part of that just comes from the fact that this source material is so old. Science fiction anime and manga from the 80s and 90s have inspired so much Western entertainment that really, at this point, these old science fiction stories of anime like Ghost in the Shell and Alita have become kind of predictable and run-of-the-mill, but it's really just a testament to their influence and age. So yeah, I really liked this movie. Please go see it if you are at all interested in science fiction or anime or and manga adaptions. This is finally an anime and manga adaptation that isn't total dog shit like the ones we've been getting. So please go out and support this movie. Apparently not anybody has been going to see it because it is bombing right now on the box office, and it needs to be making a whole lot more money in order to even break even. And I would like it to, because I would like for this to get a sequel. I've really had fun with this movie, and despite its flaws, like I said, it's the best anime or manga adaptation live action that we've gotten here in the West, and I think it deserves a 7 out of 10 for that. I'm Randall the Vandal, and thank you for watching.